like that. I said, okay, let's do a triathlon also. And
I'm going to go back a little bit because my video wasn't going there, Martin. I'm talking with Martin
Schaar.
Martin Schaar from Germany. We've been in touch over the last few years. I had some items on Craigslist, some Ironman programs and memorabilia, and Martin got in touch with me, and he's been a triathlete and an Ironman enthusiast for quite some time, but he's in Kona this year. It was the 40th running of the Ironman here in Kailua, Kona, historic village of Kailua, and the big island of Hawaii on the Kona coast, and it was the Ironman World Championship, something that everybody strives to be in. When I came to do my first Ironman in 1981, all you had to do was send in your entry fee. But since it's become an incredibly, I think they've had 225,000 athletes this year participated in Ironman events, from the Ironman World Championship distance to the Olympic distance. And so back in 97, the Germans were really known for their prowess on bikes, right?
Yes.
Is that when you started taking an interest in the Ironman or in triathlons?
Even later. So it was more in 2003 or 2004.
Okay.
And but in 2004, Norman Stadler was winning the race, and
Right.
in 2005, Faris Al-Sultan, so a German guy, but which is originally coming from Iraq. So,
Right.
but he was living in Bavaria, so he was wearing the Bavarian stripes when he was crossing the finish line. He's a kind of cool guy, and
Yeah,
he's
he had
also
a very,
on the island.
very huge
this
personality.
Year. Now he's a trainer of Patrick Lange, who was winning this year,
Oh,
and
he
he's
was?
around
Okay.
in town during
Okay.
all this time. I also already talked with him because he's open. You can talk with him, and he's taking his bike to go shopping. He doesn't take the car. He's never wears a helmet. He's like a cool and crazy
He always
guy.
was. He had a very large personality, I think,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he won. And back in 97, though, when Thomas Helbig, because I remember those days, how old would you have been at that time?
97, 23 years old.
So were you starting to take an interest in it at the time?
No,
but
no,
not till
I discovered
2004?
later. No, not
Huh.
before 2003 or
And
2004.
you weren't a biker, a runner, or a swimmer?
I was starting with mountain biking, and
Okay.
and then I asked a friend if she couldn't tell me how to swim the crawl if I want to do a triathlon,
Yeah.
because of my first triathlon I did it in
Breaststroke, so did I.
breaststrokes,
I did too.
This is kind of annoying. You annoy also the other people around if you give them the legs.
The flutter kick, or
Yeah.
whatever we call it.
So then I started to
Wow.
swim a little bit, crawl, and then I asked myself, what are the qualification times? Can I do it? Perhaps let's
So you
try.
actually had that in your sights. You had an
Then
Ironman in your sights.
after 3 or 4 years, I looked because for every Kona race between friends we make a Kona party. So you have exactly 12 hours of time shift between Kona and Germany.
Okay.
So it's Saturday evening, prime time, and then we make barbecue and we mix drinks, and we are together all over the night and to follow the race. And at one point in time, every triathlete will ask himself,
Can I do that?
can I qualify?
Okay.
It's not the question to do it here. The problem is to qualify.
Yeah.
And then I tried, and it worked in the first time. I went to China to qualify. There was an Ironman in China in 2009.
So you were an age group qualifier there?
And yes, I was an age
Wow.
group qualifier. And so in 2009, it was the first time that I was here.
Uh-huh.
I got my first Kona Ironman poster and program guide, which
Okay.
in the welcome package.
Yes.
I was in the Kona Inn jewelry at Joe
Okay.
Bolcharek in his
Sure.
shop. He has all posters attached to his wall.
Uh-huh.
I said, wow, this is a nice collection. And after coming back, so I started my side hobby to collect the posters and the program guides. And now 9 years of collecting them, and only 81 is missing.
So I just delivered to Martin some of my old programs from the 1980s, the 1990s,
Yeah,
2000.
probably 10 pounds of programs.
Yeah, and we made a nice arrangement where I'm happy with it, and I'm happy that someone who has a really high regard for the collection that I had is going to carry on with that collection. Who knows where it'll end up? But I love that tale. So from the first time you started learning to swim, you kind of had, like everybody does, your sights on Ironman. Someday I might qualify.
Yeah, let's say after 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
I didn't because in the beginning
Yeah.
it's not realistic to say that you will be ready to get a qualification.
In the early days, all we had to say was, I want to go there and try to do it, because there wasn't a qualifying time. But nowadays, it's so rigorous, and the bar is set so high for someone to qualify. It really takes setting your sights on it and having some goals and focused on it. And what are you feeling now? I mean, how was your race on Saturday? And are you able to, like, whatever? I think you said it wasn't as great a race as you
No,
had
it
hoped.
was my worst race. It was the fastest race ever, but for me personally, it was the slowest race ever. But I had some problems with my foot. But on the opposite, I knew it before that I won't be fast, and then you can go back to the initial thought of finishing it, that this is the value. I didn't want to go back and say I didn't finish it.
Okay,
So
and at
this
what
was-
point, because it was there was very little wind, the weather was good, the highway is in really good shape. There was a lot of factors that, I don't know how much the rain made a difference the night before. I'm sure to some degree, but
was quite cool on the bike, and on the run it was getting hotter. But
at
on
what
the,
point did you discover that, well, I'm not going to have my PR, I'm not right on track, but
already
I'm just...
six or 8 weeks ago in Germany when I was
Oh,
training.
really? Okay.
I couldn't run anymore, and so I had to stop running because it was hurting so much.
Oh, okay.
And today I took the car to make the 300 meters from my apartment here to the
Okay,
hotel
so
pool.
you knew it was like, I'm in, I qualified, I'm going to
Yeah,
Kona.
I want to
Somehow
finish
I'm just
it, I
gonna,
want to-
to finish it. So that was the right attitude. You had to adjust what your
Yes.
what your
Yes,
expectations
I
are.
wanted to do a sub 10. 1 year ago, I said let's try to make a sub 10 here. I have a 10:24. I did in 2013. But then I adapted my goal quite before the race.
So Martin from Germany. What part of Germany?
From near Darmstadt, so
Okay.
I'm in the same pool as Patrick Lange from time to time.
Okay.
So,
Well, I've got a niece who lives in Berlin, and my older sister lives in Berlin. They just love living there. And my nieces and nephews are there, or my great nieces and nephew, I guess. So I hope to get there someday. But Martin was here in Kailua Kona for the 40th annual Ironman World Championships. He had to qualify. Now, is there some window of qualification that you slip into now, having been an age group qualifier, or do you have to start all over this year in qualifying?
I qualified in September last year already, so
Okay.
I had one full year to prepare Kona, but
You have to do it again in order to get back to Kona next year?
Only the
Okay.
age group winner can come back. So there
Yeah.
was a years old Japanese guy who finished yesterday, so he can come back next year without qualification. Let's see if he comes back.
Yeah.
He went 16:55. It was really inspiring.
He's
I was at the finish line party at midnight. I went home after the race to get a shower, and then I said to my friends, let's go back to the finish line party
Yeah.
for the last 40 minutes. It was
Did
great.
anybody not make it before the cutoff time?
I think they have a
Couple
kind of
people?
arrangement to put them out before.
Before they get
You
to the
don't
finish.
see them anymore. Perhaps down at Palani Road or wherever they
They let
stop
them
them,
know,
and
right,
they don't.
right.
They are not allowed to go through the finisher
Right.
channel anymore.
Well, I've always
They
been
stop
proud of
them.
that finish line party, because years ago there wasn't a party, and I used to advocate that that's the best thing that could happen, is to start presenting that as a party at the finish line, and let's have music, let's do all kinds of things. So that's part of the history of it too.
And also the professionals now, they in Germany, if they give interviews, they say, it's a tradition since the beginning that we as professionals, then we welcome the last finishers. So they
Yeah.
don't know
They didn't used to do that. They didn't start that till the late 90s. And I took
but
Mark Allen in for the first
today's
time.
winners, they don't know this history anymore.
Yeah,
They
and
think
that's why I
that-
like to tell it, because I was a part of it. So I like to tell the story of how those things happen, because they come from somebody having the right attitude at the time. Like when I dragged Mark Allen in there for the very first time, when he won 1 year, and nobody had ever done that before. And I know Mike Riley was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Hey, turn down the music. I'm going to interview Mark Allen on the radio right now." You know, that was the first year that happened. And sometimes it just has to be born out of someone who it more naturally happens.
Yeah.
And then it becomes part of the race. So I'm telling more and more of those stories, because I think they're an important part of the history. Just like the history of John and Judy Collins, how the race started. All those things are important. The story that you heard about Mike Collins,
Yeah,
Michael,
listen.
taking 24 hours to finish his first race so that he could get to his homeroom class the next day. They're all important pieces of the history of people that were part of the early days, just as those that are creating a lot of the history nowadays. And you're one of those people by coming over here and being in Kona and enjoying the race and finishing it and all the week of events. Was it a good week for you overall?
Yeah, we have to enjoy the island, and it's, for example, just the car drivers are much more relaxed than in Germany. So I'm still looking to find a sticker for my car, Drive Aloha, because in Germany people, they go so fast and they are pushing on
So
the
you
cars.
really felt that the people in the community, because it's a tough one for people in the community, they're trying to get to work, and they've always said that
Yeah.
the Germans are the worst, as far as driving 3 abreast and everything, but I'm glad to hear you say that there seemed to be a lot of cooperation in terms of drivers and riders.
Yeah,
You felt
it's
it.
really it's really okay. So it's harder in Europe or in Germany.
Well, that's nice to hear you say that, because I think the community really does put their best foot forward, to be careful and be mindful of the traffic and be mindful that if people
But-
are here for a week for the event and they forget that everybody else is going to work.
But we are perhaps a little bit more mindful during this race week as we are in training, because you are strongly encouraged also by Ironman to be nice to the people who live here
Yeah.
during your stay, and perhaps not. We know that we are now hundreds on the highway with bikes,
Right.
which is not standard.
And Ironman has gotten much better about getting that information out. We used to put a lot of PSAs out with both German, Japanese, and English speaking, all kinds of things that are done. I think now they remind people that you may even be penalized if you are disqualified if you don't
Yeah,
handle it right.
that's what
That's
they
been an
tell you.
issue ever since the beginning of time. So I'm glad to hear you say so many nice things about how it worked this year.
I
Great.
think it's fine.
So Martin, my new friend from Germany, although we've been friends by online over the last couple of years, as he's been an enthusiast about some of the Ironman memorabilia I have, and I now think I have more that he's going to enjoy getting, and it's been really fun. Martin, I'm glad we got a
Thanks,
chance to say
Emily.
hello.
Very nice to meet you.
We say aloha.